So it looks like Manny Pacquiao is going to fight Keith Thurman. It's not official yet. Um, I don't think Floyd Mayweather is coming back. I've said this for a while. I don't think he's coming back though. Now, if Pacquiao knocks out Keith Thurman, then maybe he could come back for that rematch. But um, I just know Floyd doesn't really gain anything from beating Pacquiao again. Um, you know, I, rematch just money wise, I don't even think it's big enough for him to. Floyd's not coming back unless he's guaranteed 100 mil, and I don't think a Pacquiao rematch is going to give him 100 mil. Like I said, unless he knocks out Keith Thurman, something like that, maybe okay, maybe he could come back for that. But unless that happens, I don't see Floyd coming back. Pacquiao Thurman, told you guys before, it's not a bad fight stylistically. It's still a good fight, but I don't think Keith deserves the fight. He held the division hostage, had a unofficial retirement last year. Um, he looked great first 6 rounds versus Josecito Lopez, but from round 7 and on, he was on Queer Street for about 3 rounds, and then bounced back the next couple of rounds, looked decent, and then 12th round he kind of just gave away versus Lopez, who's solid fighter, not a world beater, not a bum, but he's a solid fighter. He's always game, always holds a good account of himself in fights. He had a close fight with Jesse Vargas. Um, he had no business fighting Canelo, but he actually held a good account of himself until he got stopped in the fifth. Um, who else did Lopez fight? Maidana, that was a good fight until he got stopped. Um, Lopez is always pretty game. He's a solid fighter. Wouldn't mind seeing him versus Broner next, or versus Figueroa, or against Sergey Lepnets. Hell, even against Danny Garcia, or who else? Maybe Duran Ennis. I think Ennis he's still a prospect. That wouldn't be a bad fight because Duran Ennis is not bad. I don't know if you guys heard about him. He's promising welterweight prospect. Um, he's been on Showbox recently. He hasn't fought this year yet, I don't think. But he's pretty tall for a welterweight. He's like 5'10". He's got a pretty long reach. I think he's from Philly. Athletic, power, box, switches a little bit. Um, he's kind of like at that Teofimo Lopez stage where clearly he's a good fighter, but he needs to fight able bodies. So I wouldn't mind seeing Ennis versus Lopez, or Berto, or Rashidi Ellis or somebody. I think Rashidi Ellis is still with Golden Boy. I think so. I don't know why. I don't know why black fighters go to like Top Rank and Golden Boy. Like they don't promote you ever. Bob Arum doesn't think black fighters have a market, and Golden Boy, I don't think they have issues with black fighters per se. I know they hate Al Heyman, calling him the black Hitler and the N word in the email a couple of years ago. But in terms of black fighter, because B Hop's with him, although he's, it's B Hop, so it's no shock he's with them. Mosley and De La Hoya are cool, as far as I know. Um, but they don't really promote black fighters. Their main focus is Latinos, which I'm not shocked or mad at it. Typically people are going to promote people that look like you. That's why Bob Arum seems to have more of a, seems to like. I don't think Bob Arum just promotes at all, though. Not. I think he does horrible with black fighters, but he has a very old school mentality of promoting. Like he just don't promote fights. I don't know if people really know that Lomachenko's fighting next week. So it's not just black fighter. He just don't promote. I think he's good at building up fighters, but he don't really promote fights. And in this day and age, you got to make people want to fight. Diehard boxing fans are going to watch most fights regardless because, that's their main focus. But for casual fans, got to make us somewhat, um, give us a reason to watch the fight. They probably will, but you got to give them a reason. Um, So I just lost my train of thought now. But we'll see what happens. Um, but back to Keith Thurman, Pacquiao. It's uh, it's not a bad fight. I'll probably pick Keith Thurman to win it if they make it official. Um, I know some people are worried that if Keith beats Pacquiao, he might retire. Wouldn't shock me. It's hard to be shocked when it comes to boxing. Um, I'd be. I don't think Keith would retire if he beats Pacquiao. It wouldn't shock me, but I don't think he'll do it. Like I said, it wouldn't shock me, but I don't think he'll do it. Um, Sounds like Earl Spence is going to fight Sean Porter probably September. I don't know why it's so late, but it is what it is. Most of these top fighters only fight twice a year, so it's not too shocking either. It's just, it is what it is. I think it's a good fight. I don't think it's a pay per view fight. Most of these fights really aren't pay per view. The only pay per view fight out there is really Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford, AJ Wilder. That's about it, really. Canelo Jacobs is not a bad fight. I don't know if it's pay per view, but Canelo Jacobs is a really good fight. I don't know if it's pay per view because it's not the best versus the like. Okay, well, the middleweight we don't really know who's the best. Right? Like Triple G's really good, but he's not great. Canelo's really good, but he's not great because he hasn't beaten a top fighter dominantly, except for Cotto. But I don't think he beat Cotto dominantly. I just thought he beat him. He won convincingly, but I don't think he dominated him. Trout, I thought he beat Trout, but he didn't dominate him. I thought he lost to Lara. I thought he lost to Triple G in the first fight. I thought he beat Triple G in the rematch, but he didn't dominate Triple G. I thought Jacobs beat Triple G, not dominantly, but I thought he beat him. I thought he beat Deverchenko, not dominantly, but I thought he beat him. Jabal Charlo, he's a good fighter, but the only names on his resume is Cornelius Bunridge. That's a respectful win. J. Rock Williams, top prospect at the time, and still a good fighter. Austin Trout, former champion, fought everybody. But I think we still got some questions about Jabal Charlo. How good's his chin? Can he bounce back? I know mentally he was all over the place after his brother got snobbed. I think in December last year versus Tony Harrison. So clearly mentally he just didn't want to be there. Um, but we still got questions about Jamal's chin. You know, Demetrius Andrade. I like Demetrius Andrade. I think he skillfully could beat any middleweight, but actually, his only names are Vanis Martirosyan and Willie Nelson. He hasn't beaten anybody spectacular yet either. Walter Contadaqua, like we knew the dude had power. I think he had like 16 out of 16, knockouts. But yeah, Walter Contadaqua, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He hadn't fought nobody. Um, Lantez Fox, he's cool, but he was a prospect. Jack Kukale, you know, come on. Brian Rose, that's okay. It's not a bum, Brian Rose, but he's not a world beater. So, we still got questions about Boo Boo. Is he, I think he is the goods, but we still got to see it. I think Charlo's the goods, but we got to see it. Triple G's good, but he's not great the way HBO and ESPN swore up and down he was. I think Canelo's really good, but he hasn't had a dominant performance over elite fighters, the way Mayweather did to him, Um, Jacobs is really good, but he hasn't had a dominant peak performance. I guess Quillen, because he knocked him out in the first round. So um, I'll definitely do a prediction about Jacobs versus Canelo. That'll be probably a long one, but let me know what you guys think about Pacquiao, Thurman, potential Earl Spence versus Sean Porter. Definitely drop comments, like, dislike, subscribe, and you guys have a good one.